Hey, welcome to another episode of Dr. Nick's WellPad Chronicles. So, I'll be kind of breaking down really simple anatomy and physiology concepts for you to understand. I'm an educator at heart, so of course, it's super important for me to help others understand what's happening in their body because guess what? We all have a body, right? So, today, we are going to be discussing is what is flight or flight. So we've all heard of flight or flight, right? We know that it's a stress response. We know it's what happens, or it's the body's way of helping us survive. So picture this. Someone cuts you off while you're driving on the highway, and you had to swerve to just narrowly avoid a collision. hmm Or have you ever been walking to your car at night and you see a shadow and you think someone just might be following you just for a split second? And so the hairs on your arm kind of stand up, right? So these are incidences of when your fight or flight mode kicks in. It's natural, right? And this is driven by our body's sympathetic nervous system. This response is your body's reaction to danger. It was designed to help you survive stressful and life threatening situations. The fight or flight response is known as a stress response. It's triggered by this release of hormones, either prompting us to stay and fight or run away and flee, right? And during the response, all of our bodily systems are working to keep us alive in what we've perceived as this, and I quote, dangerous situation. So without you even telling it what to do, without you giving your body a command or thinking twice, your body's assessing what's going on, what's happening around you, and determining your options on how you most likely could survive whatever this event is. Okay, so most people either don't know or don't care as to what happens during the fight or flight system, but it behooves you to know and understand. Why? Because when you understand your body, then you know how to love your body just the way it needs to, and you are more keen on recognizing when you're in a stressful situation when you're feeling stress in your body and when you're not. And that can go down a rabbit hole, so I'll just leave that there, right? Okay, so here's what happens during your stress response. Okay, first, okay, our heart rate and blood pressure are going to increase. Okay, they are going to increase. So imagine now, y'all know me and my drawing. It's a little touch. There we go. So we have this person. Okay. Yes, I guess they have hands. All right. So we have this person. And in our body, we have our heart, we have our lungs, and of course, we have like our pancreas, we have our liver, we have our stomach, and we have our intestines. So you've got all this stuff, right? So our heart, right here, I'm going to do this way. Our heart is going to beat faster, and our lungs, this is going to cause us to breathe faster and harder. And so between our heart and lungs, these two will cause our blood and nutrients to circulate faster in the body, right? Circulation of blood, nutrients, hormones, all that jazz. And where does it go? It's not going everywhere in the body. It's only going to, or it's kind of redirecting to those muscle groups, major muscle groups, i.e., the ones that help you move, like your legs, right? Our major muscle groups. So, heart rate and blood pressure increase. Okay? Now, second thing you may experience, may become pale or have flushed skin, right? Okay. And this is due to the blood being redirected, and that rush of hormones. This can often show up as cold and clammy. All right, you guys with me? Okay, the third, we have blunt pain response, which is compromised. Okay, here's the thing. Our sympathetic system, which I didn't talk about it, well, I talked about it, but I didn't write anything. But our sympathetic system, which is the system that governs our fight or flight, what secretes or kind of jumpstarts or triggers this system are these little glands located on our kidney. Yes, it's not the best kidney, but their little glands are located right on top, and we call these adrenal glands. These house our stress hormones, okay? And so when that system is activated, and just so you know, this is the kidney. So when that system is activated, these stress hormones, or these adrenal glands, release stress hormones into the blood to circulate and cause this cascade of events, right? And so as a result, if you're running and you're shot, God forbid, that's when you hear people who like they didn't realize they were shot until they stopped. Because you don't have time to feel pain. Like your body's like, listen, we don't have time for that. Okay? We got to get out of here. We can feel this pain later. But in the meantime, we have to get out of here, right? And so that blunt pain response is compromised because it's trying to keep you alive, okay? So the pain comes later, okay? Now the fourth thing are our dilated pupils, right? Dilated pupils. So now eyes, I think I can do a decent eye, right? Not the greatest, but it's decent. This is our pupil. I won't give you an eye anatomy, but this is our pupil. What happens is our pupil is going to dilate. That means it's going to get bigger, right? So it goes from here to here. So this is this larger pupil, right? And what that does is it's going to allow more light in so that you can see more clearly. Remember, it's all about survival. So if you can see that tree stump in front of you when you're running, then you can jump over it as opposed to tripping and fall, and you get my drift, right? Okay, cool beans. So we're almost there. Number 5, which is the last one that will, and there's a lot of stuff that happens, but these are the main things. You sweat. You sweat, you sweat, you sweat. So I always think of like the emoji, and he's got like the sweat beads up here. I know, it looks kind of weird, right? But you sweat, right? Why? The whole thing is to keep the body cool. The last thing you want to do is overheat when you're in the heat of the moment. Think about when you're nervous or something like that happens. You break out into a sweat, your armpits get sweaty. Why? Because your body's like, listen, now's not the time for us to overheat, boo. We've got to go. So sweating keeps your body cool, right? And of course, there are other things that happen. So these additional symptoms are like increased awareness. Right? I like to call this your spidey senses go up. Another thing that happens, you can have altered memories. So this happens a lot in trauma, right? These altered memories, um, it can be very clear or blocked out completely. So these are people who've gone through trauma and they have no recollection of what happened, right? Or going through trauma and they can recall everything, the scent, they can recall, I mean, these people who you take them to a sketch artist and they can give you every detail, right? So either very clear or blocked out completely. And of course, with those stress hormones circulating through the body, right, it can cause our muscles to be tense and twitching. Okay. And why? Because they got to be ready, set, as my friend Nicole says, right? Your muscles have to be ready at a moment's notice. So they're tense and twitching. They're just, all right, let's go. Let's go. Think about a runner before a race. And then something else that can happen, bladder and bowel control can be affected as well. For some, if they've been scared enough, they might wet their clothes. But here's the thing, fight or flight is all about the priority of survival, right? So you don't have time for any of the other foo-foo stuff. No, this is just what's needed immediately. So yes, digestion is important, but is it a key to your survival in a moment's notice? Not so much, all right? So it's immediately, and then those other things like reproduction and digestion, those things are put on the back burner, right? So all of your energy goes toward survival. And while this can be triggered instantly, it can take anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes to a couple of days to come down off that high, which explains why if you've ever been in a car accident, you generally don't feel the soreness that day, but those next few days coming though, you feel like you've been hit by a truck, if indeed you've been hit by a truck, right? So fight or flight, we all have this system. Hopefully, this gives you a better understanding of what is happening in your body when you are put in a threatening or dangerous situation. I will come back and speak on how our fight or flight system is abused in our current culture. But for right now, I hope you enjoyed today's lesson, and I look forward to us doing it again next week. Meet me here. Dr. Nick's WELLPad Chronicles on Wednesdays. Alrighty, talk to you soon. Love and blessings. Toodles.